So I'm just gonna do this video real quick, as fast as I can. If you hear me coughing, that means I'm smoking. Okay, this is the World Economic Forum, the WEF 2020. Remember when President Trump went to the WEF 2020? I recorded that part of the video where he told World Economic Forum, I'm gonna put my boot in your ass. So the World Economic Forum is trying to push for 2030. So let's skip to page 3 and discuss some of the topics. That's the map. That's another map. So let me zoom it in so you can see it better. So extreme weather. Climate action failure. Remember President Trump took us out of the TPP and then the Paris Accord, and then he brought back natural energy. USA's natural energy. They are so against it. Remember Greta Thunberg? What is that famous line she says? Whatever Greta Thunberg says. She's granddaughter to George Soros. So they're saying the 10 risks of likelihood. Extreme weather, climate change action, failure, natural disasters, biodiversity loss, human-made environmental disasters, data fraud or theft, cyber attacks, water crisis, global governance failure, asset bubbles. Okay, so these are by the man-made weather machine. Extreme weather, climate action failure, natural disasters, human-made environmental disasters. Remember Australia fires? They were created by the ISIS. California wildfires, they were done by the drones that shut down rays. Like Paradise City burnt in California. Water crisis was when Obama put fluoride and other crap in your water. And then, again, right here, impact, climate change failures, weapons of mass destruction. They're talking about weapons of mass destruction when Obama gave, he gave a lot of, the last 4 presidencies, Bush 40, Obama 44, Bush 43, Clinton 42, and Bush 41, and then Richard Nixon and Jimmy Carter all gave weapons to countries like North Korea, Iran, to ISIS countries like Palestine, Afghanistan, okay, to cause ISIS, create terrorism. They built terrorism. They created it. Jihad, Israel was part of it. Remember Q-Drop 916, save Israel for last. You gotta connect dots to be able to do this, because I'm not gonna show you no proof or anything. I'm just connecting some dots, telling you what I'm telling you. Take notes. Go do your research. Weapons of mass destruction, biodiversity loss. When they say biodiversity loss, go back and read Tucker Carlson's book, chapter 5. When I go watch the other video I made yesterday about Tucker Carlson's book, about how they tried to insert diversity between races. Obama created Black Lives Matter October 3rd, 2013. You can look it up on Wikipedia. And I've done videos on that. Anti-fascist Ku Klux Klan was created December 24th, 1865. Go look it up on the internet. I've done video on that. Anti-fascist was created in 1913. Same day as the December 23rd, 1913 was when the Federal Reserve was built and brought out to the public. That was the day the anti-fascists were created. Then the Nazis, 1929, started Nazi Germany. Okay. Then you had Hitler, World War II. Then we had the Civil War. Then we had the Civil Rights Acts. Then we had all this bullshit leading up to today. It never ends. Extreme weather, HARP. Water crisis, again, Obama and other people. Information infrastructure breakdown. And when they said cyber attacks right there, that's when Obama sold the internet to other countries. The October 1st surprise of 2016. Information inspection breakdown. Natural disasters that's created by the Democrats and the left. Cyber attacks, again right there, cyber attacks. Human-made environmental disasters, again, when people are paid money to create fires, and when the drones caused the wildfires in California, burning down cities, Paradise City. There's a video on my timeline on Paradise City. They're trying to separate people by geopolitical, societal, but fake news media is responsible for all this. The Global Shapers community is the World Economic Forum's network of young people driving dialogue, action, and change, along with the Sunset movement, along with SJWs, Antifas, Black Lives Matter. I mean, there's so many hate groups out there. They're using the internet to cause social divide. They brainwashed the sheeple by the internet, video games, movies, TV shows, commercials, Instagram, name brand shoes, Nikes, and etc. The Global Risks Report 2015 edition. See what they say. Strategic partners: Marshall McLennan, Zurich Insurance Group. Academic advisors: National University of Singapore, obviously China. Oxford Martin School, University of Oxford, obviously. Wharton Risk Management and Decision Process Center, University of Pennsylvania. Wharton. Didn't President Trump go to Wharton? I thought he went to Wharton College. And Jesuits and Vatican. Well, the Vatican's already done. Preface, executive summary. Global Risk 2020, An Unsettled World, The Fraying of Fundaments. I'm going to show you something.
The world is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change. And your biggest issue is how are we going to pay for it? And like, this is the war. This is our World War II. I think that the part of it that is generational is that millennials and people and Gen Z and all these folks that come after us are looking up, and we're like, the world is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change. And your biggest issue is how are we going to pay for it? And like, this is the war. This is our World War II. And I think for younger people, we're looking at this and we're like, how are we saying let's take it easy when 3,000 Americans died last year? How are we saying let's take it easy when the nth person has just died from our cruel and unjust criminal justice system? How are we saying take it easy when the America that we're living in today is so dystopian, with people sleeping in their cars so that they can work a second job without health care, and we're told to settle down? It's a fundamental separation between that fierce urgency of now, the why we can't wait that King spoke of.
I'm going to be here for much long because of the climate crisis. We only have a few months left. I love that you support the Green Deal, but it's not getting rid of fossil fuel. It's not going to solve the problem fast enough. A Swedish professor saying we can eat dead people, but that's not fast enough. So I think your next campaign slogan has to be this: we got to start eating babies. We don't have enough time. There's too much CO2. All of you're a pollutant. Too much CO2. We have to start now, please. You are so great. I'm so happy that you're really supporting the Green Deal, but it's not enough. Even if we would bomb Russia, we still have too many people, too much pollution. So we have to get rid of the babies. That's a big problem. Just stopping having babies is not enough.
My message is that we'll be watching you. This is all wrong. I shouldn't be up here. I should be back in school on the other side of the ocean. Yet you all come to us young people for hope. How dare you?
How dare you?
You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words. And yet I'm one of the lucky ones. People are suffering. People are dying. Entire ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. How dare you?
Count it out. Left behind. This is your campaign.
I don't think people are looking for revolution. I think they're looking for results. Donald Trump has put us in a horrible situation. We do have enormous income inequality. And the one thing I agree on is we can make massive cuts in the $1.6 trillion in tax loopholes out there. And I would be going about eliminating Donald Trump's tax cuts for the wealthy. Donald Trump thinks Wall Street built America. Ordinary middle-class Americans built America. As president, I promise you, I will get these weapons of war off the street again. There's no threat to the Second Amendment by telling people there are certain weapons they cannot own. If we think big enough, bold enough to build a future that this nation and quite frankly, the world deserves, making sure affordable health care is accessible to every single American, lowering drug prices, ending surprise billings, protecting our rural hospitals that are closing. We should do it by building on Obamacare, not scrapping it. As President of the United States, I would remind the world that we are the United States of America and we do not coddle dictators. The United States of America gives hate no safe harbor. Donald Trump's brand of American First has too often led to America alone. The fates of nations are more intertwined than they ever have been. Climate change, nuclear proliferation, international and transnational terrorism, cyber warfare, disruptive new technologies, mass migration.
That's why That's why Trump killed Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi and Qasem Soleimani and destroyed terrorist ISIS.
I would, in fact, make sure that we immediately surge to the border. All those people are seeking asylum. They deserve to be heard. That's who we are. We're a nation that says if you want to flee and you're fleeing oppression, you should come. I would change the order that the president just changed, saying women who were being beaten and abused could no longer claim that as a reason for asylum.
That's a lie.
12 years of education is no longer sufficient. We need widespread access to affordable education, college, community college. They should be free, in my view.
Nope.
It's more than a comeback, in my view, our campaign. It's a comeback for the soul of this nation. The reason why we've been able to lead the world is not the example of our power, although we're the most powerful nation in the world. It's the power of our example.
Who will say that climate is the #1 priority for me. Vice President Biden won't say it. Senator Warren won't say it. It's a state of emergency, and I would declare a state of emergency on day 1. I would use the emergency powers of the presidency. I know that we have to do this. I've spent a decade fighting and beating oil companies, stopping pipelines, stopping fossil fuel plants, ensuring clean energy across the country. I know that we have to do this. I also know that we can do this. I would make this the #1 priority of my foreign policy as well. We can do this and create literally millions of good-paying union jobs across this country. I would make sure that my climate policy was led by environmental justice and members of the communities where this society has chosen to put our air and water pollution, which are low-income black and brown communities. And when we ask, how are we going to pull this country together? How about this? We take on the biggest challenge in history, we save the world, and we do it together. Do you think that would pull America together? I do.
Quickly, Vice President Biden, you were name-checked there. I'd like to give you a chance to
respond.
Yeah,
it was. I think it is the existential threat to humanity. It's the #1 issue. And I might add, I don't really need kind of a lecture from my friend. While I was passing the first climate change bill, and that PolitiFact said was a game changer, while I managed the $90 billion recovery plan, investing more money in infrastructure that related to clean energy than any time we've ever done it, my friend was producing more coal mines and produced more coal around the world, according to the press, than all of Great Britain produces. Now, I welcome him back into the fold here, and he's been there for a long while. But the idea that we talk about where we started and how we are, let's get this straight. I think it is the existential threat of all time.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. You may respond, Mr. Steyer.
Back to the World Economic Forum 2020 report. And at the end of the video, you'll see Julian Assange, what he's going to say. An unsettled world, powerful economic, demographic, and technological forces are shaping a new balance of power. The result is an unsettled geopolitical landscape, one in which states are increasingly viewing opportunities and challenges through unilateral lenses. What we were once givens regarding alliance structures and multilateral systems no longer holding as states question the value of long-standing framework and adopting more nationalist postures and pursuit of individual agendas and weigh the potential geopolitical consequences of economic decoupling. Okay, COVID-19, 2019 pandemic. 2020 pandemic of COVID-19. Example, Green New Deal, AOC. Cannibalism, another example. Adrenochrome, pedophilia, Jeffrey Epstein Island, comic books, movies, 2012, Day After Tomorrow, Doomsday movies, Matrix, Men in Black, Aliens, the movie The Hunt. I mean, there's too many movies, there's too many books out there, there's too much stuff that has happened to bring it to today. Bill Gates and his predictions of the pandemic. The 1918 Spanish flu. The sinking of the Titanic. Abe Lincoln assassination. JFK assassinated. The Fed Reserve. Bring back the gold. The Treasury. The National Treasure movies. Guys, there's so much out there, and you guys need to connect the dots. Remember, it all goes back to Bush and Rothschilds and Rockefellers. Holocaust. Iran nuke deal with Obama, giving $150 billion, then $1.8 billion to Iran for nukes. No, North Korea. I already discussed this with you guys in the beginning of the video, but I'm just going to repeat it again. When you add it all together, your governors and your mayors are forcing you mask mandate. Masks are not good for you. Masks are not your friend. Reopen the schools, reopen the country. Let's go back to 2019 the way the country was. And you have to understand why President Trump went to WEF 2018, skipped 2019, and went back to 2020. Watch the other video I did.
Nearly every war that has started in the past 50 years has been a result of media lies. The media could have stopped it if they'd searched deep enough. If they hadn't retweeted government propaganda, they could have stopped it. But what does that mean? Well, that means basically populations don't like wars. And populations have to be fooled into wars. Populations don't willingly and with open eyes go into a war. So if we have a good media environment, then we'll also have a peaceful environment. But our number one enemy is ignorance. And I believe that is the number one enemy of everyone. Is not understanding what is actually going on. It's only when you start to understand that you can make effective decisions.
Just to let you know, the media causes wars.
Morning. On Saturday, thousands of protesters called for him to resign while he awaits trial for corruption charges. They're also unhappy with his handling of the pandemic. Israeli media estimates about 15,000 people protested outside of Netanyahu's home, holding signs reading, quote, "Crime Minister." I want to bring in CBS News foreign correspondent.
This is Iran. Protests all around the world. The world is rising. This is protests in Hong Kong.
Demonstrations in the streets of central Minsk. With this man at the heart of both, embattled Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko.
This is a healthy immune system, and I take care of my body. I eat the right food, I take vitamins, I drink the right water. Vitamin D, vitamin C, it's been proven already. So we have everything that we need. We don't need a vaccine.
There's no reason to shut the whole state down. 99% of the people, with less than 1% of people that are vulnerable to the virus. And the facts speak for themselves. It's true.
I think it's concerned. I'm concerned, but it's been politicized. This is a tool now. This is a tool to keep us at home and on house arrest. We're not on house arrest. We've been asked to social distance. We can wear our mask. We can stay distance from people. I'm not on house arrest. I refuse. I walk out of my house now.
You know, my body, my choice. I take care of myself. I should be able to have the freedoms to go out and do my work, my business, my job, take care of my family.